Hey guys, Richard here with Downgrade Survival, bringing you another video. Everything's going nuclear, it seems. You know, if you've been watching the news and keeping up with current events over the last, even just the last week, there has been a lot more talk about nuclear Armageddon. Now, it didn't help that the old Sleepy Joe comment that he made at a fundraising event where he disclosed some information and made a comment about how close we are to nuclear Armageddon. Now that just shows you to the mentality of our great leader of this country and his mental state of being, that he would blab out some kind of comment about nuclear Armageddon at a fundraising event. But nonetheless, he did, and it stirred a lot of emotions and got a lot of people riled up. Some mainstream media actually picked up on it and discussed it. Some obviously ignored it like they like to do. But here's the thing, a lot of YouTube channels now have started talking about the nuclear Armageddon comment that he made. And I even commented about it a couple of days ago in a video. You know, just in passing, I had no idea that it was going to blow up the way it did, and that there'd be so much talk about it. So now every YouTube channel out there is jumping on the bandwagon, and they've got things to say about it. And here's my take on it, guys. Here's what I feel. Just like I said several months ago, we're close, and I think we are a lot closer to nuclear war than any of us realize. I mean, the things that are going on in Russia and Ukraine, and the threats that are being made, and the movement of troops and assets, and the alert statuses, and just everything that goes with it, there's some pretty serious things going on behind the scenes, no doubt, that we are just not aware of. And sooner or later, when you put someone in a corner and they feel like they have no other option than to hit the nuclear button, then there's a good chance that's what they're going to do. And I feel that Putin is in the corner, based on what we hear and what we're seeing. So that's one thing to talk about. You know, just be aware that despite all the chatter and all the hype, yes, it's still a serious matter, very serious matter. In so much that I guess just a few days ago, the state of Delaware has decided that they're going to issue potassium iodide tablets to all their citizens. And that's kind of significant, because you typically don't see states free willy-nilly giving out potassium iodide. And yeah, so here they're doing it. And you know, are they just taking a prudent step to protect citizens? And if so, why? I mean, what do they know? What do they fear? What are they seeing? Are they seeing the same kind of things that we're seeing here, that, you know, things aren't right and it's best to be proactive? Could it be that there are nuclear power plants up in, you know, that part of the country? There's quite a few of them, and maybe there's just you know, taking a prudent step, possibly, I suppose. But with all the hype and talk about nuclear Armageddon, and then you've got them passing out potassium iodide tablets, it just rings alarm bells a little bit, makes you wonder what's going on. But here's something that's more alarming, and you may have already heard this. There's a couple of channels starting to talk about this now, but last week, actually I think it was on the 4th, the Department of Health and Human Services announced that they started scooping up and buying a pill that is for radiation sickness. And what it is this pill is something that you take after you've been exposed to radiation, in order to try to mitigate the results, mitigate the effects of radiation poisoning as a result of a nuclear, you know, incident. And so they went out and, you know, they're spending something like $300 million to scoop up a bunch of these pills. So that is also a little bit alarming and concerning, about why is the government now, you know, scooping up these types of medication. And it's also important to note that this type of medication that they're scooping up only has a shelf life of about 18 months. Now, unlike potassium iodide, which is my understanding, it has a much longer shelf life. So it's something you could invest in and store, and it'd be a good thing. this stuff only has a shelf life of 18 months, and they're spending $300 million in order to scoop up a bunch of tablets. So that's a little concerning. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. All I know is that it seems like everything is going nuclear. We keep hearing about it, and it's at the forefront of a lot of what we are seeing and hearing these days. And we need to prepare for it. So what I did, I went out, and I'll drop a couple links down below, but I recently went out and bought some more potassium iodide tablets. I actually found some by a company here in the United States. So they're made and produced here in the United States. So that's one plus. But they're in a travel pack. So they're like, they're just in a small travel pack that makes it easier for me to add them to my IFAC kits. So I bought a bunch of those. I'm going to be adding them to all my IFAC kits, so my individual first aid kit. That way, each member of my family will have those with them, and it's a 14-day supply, which is what is recommended if you suspect or are involved in some type of nuclear incident. You want to take it for about 14 days. So there's 14 pills in each of these little packets. And I just thought it was great because previously I had found some and I bought them, and it was like in a large bottle. And as long as we're at home at the time, it's no big deal. But if we have to be out and about traveling and we get stuck somewhere, unable to get back to our supplies, then it'd be nice to know that we have that with us at all time. So I'll drop a link to that down below. But and here's the thing: I will only go so far to protect myself and my family from nuclear incident. We can prepare by having the supplies necessary at home to create a clean room and to try to keep contaminants out. We can take potassium iodide tablets. We can try to limit our exposure and or bug out of an area that may be contaminated. And I do have a couple of masks, or a couple of respirators, one by Mira Safety that is rated for nuclear, chemical, biological. But that's not going to do me a lot of good if I don't have the entire suit. And it's not going to do me any good if I don't have one for each member of my family. And those things are quite expensive, and that's just not something that we can afford. And even those things have a shelf life, so you spend a lot of money on it, and you know what, if 5 years down the road you're buying it again and then again. And so I'm not taking my nuclear preparedness or my nuclear preparation to that level, at least not yet. I'm just not going to do it. And I guess a lot of folks, myself included, wouldn't be able to afford it anyway. We just can't afford to take that level of preparation. So you just do the best you can, right? Do the best you can and hope for the best. And that's all that any of us can do. I'm on a bumpy road, so my camera is shaking. So we're going to go ahead and cut this video short. So like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in another one real soon.